Hey everybody, it's Kathy Hester from HealthySlowCooking.com, and I'm here on Tuesday to give you an easy recipe. Today we're actually going to make Indian style Idaho potatoes, and so they're going to have a lot of cumin seeds and a few other spices as well. So we'll talk a little bit about Indian food, a couple of shortcuts maybe, and potatoes, because potatoes are wonderful, aren't they? So, today, I don't know where you are, but it's pretty dreary. I don't know if you can kind of see a little bit out there. It's kind of all drizzly and cold, and so a little bit of warm Indian spices really kind of makes the day when that happens. So these are super easy to make. So you could also, next time you're kind of boiling up some potatoes, cook extra. Because what I did is I just cut mine up and cooked them in the Instant Pot for about 7 minutes on high pressure. And actually, I'll probably be able to let you see me do the natural pressure release. And Dawn has kindly put up the link to the recipe on my blog. I may do it slightly different here, and I'm going to do a no oil version, but you can always do a no oil version. You guys know that. So let's go ahead and go over to where the cooking's going to happen. One thing I'd like to know from you guys is if you're cooking Indian food already, and if you have some of the spices that I have. If not, feel free to ask questions, and I will also be telling you where to get them. So first thing, that's where we're going to cook our potatoes in a minute. Let me just see if I can get this over here where you can kind of see. There we go. Can you guys hear the rain at all? Okay, so I'm just a natural pressure release that may take nothing. Oh, would be me moving this and it going tss, tss. But it's been off for a while. And don't forget, when you have your handle, you can put your lid right there. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the other side, which will be off camera. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to cook some cumin seeds. And these are actually called cumin seed potatoes. So it would be sad if we didn't have these. I am once again using my exciting induction burner that I don't really know how to use. So let's try it around here. So if you wanted to use some oil, you could go ahead and heat it up now. And once it's hot, you'd add the cumin seeds. And so basically, we just want these to get kind of toasted and fragrant. And that won't take too long if I'm picking close to the right temperature. So that's about 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds. And I'd love to know if you guys have cumin seeds and or ground cumin powder in your pantry right now. A great place to get these spices very inexpensively is the Indian market. And tell me, or actually even leave a comment about your favorite Indian market in your area so that other people can find it too. And they're already starting to smell a little bit more. So what happens with spices, so herbs, as they get heated, at some point they lose that extra smell. But spices, the heat actually reactivates it and brings out the oils. And if you're using oil, you'll actually hear them pop a little bit. I don't know if I just lose my patience and I don't do them quite as long when I don't use oil. But we're also going to add in some ground coriander powder, cumin powder, turmeric powder, chili powder, and some salt. So you can see those. I just went ahead and measured them out just so you don't have to watch me measure them. And we're going to go ahead and put that in there too and toast it a little bit just till it gets fragrant. So the only reason we're doing this, obviously we don't need to cook the spices, right, is to bring out the really delicious flavors and smells and aromas. And that's one of the best parts about Indian food, to me. Anyhow, it's just all these wonderful flavors that aren't spicy. So I say you can use some chili powder in this. And often I'll say you can use something like cayenne. This is the organic chili powder I get from the Indian market. And it's $3 for almost half a pound. So it's very inexpensive. And that's the more expensive organic one. Okay, so that's starting to smoke up a little bit. Okay, let's turn that down just a little bit. That would be down the other way. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in some water and some grated ginger. And I'll talk to you about a shortcut for the grated ginger in just a minute. So basically what we're doing right this moment is we're kind of making a little paste, right? Or a thin paste, I guess would be a better way to put it. You could make, and sometimes you can buy something already made that are paste that you would add to a little bit more water at your Indian market. But the ingredients I've added in here, so cumin powder is used a lot in chilies, that most people have those. Turmeric is used by vegans a lot, especially when we're doing some kind of vegan scramble. Coriander, I pretty much use just in Indian food, but if you guys know of a different use of it, please let me know. And I'll start talking about that one too. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just using a slotted spoon to get the potatoes out. So that's how, and I'm going to save this potato water. And the recipe on my blog right now is for Idaho stuffed buns, and they're stuffed with jackfruit barbecue. And so you could use like the last little bits of potato to make that bread. And it also is kind of a nice thickener. So you can really reuse a lot of cooking liquids. So you could reuse some of the cooking liquids from vegetables too in your soups. Okay. Looking in there to see if I can get it all out. Okay. And so then basically we're just going to cook this together, and it's okay if they smush a little bit. I made these smaller. If you like yours less smushy, you can make them a little bit bigger. And now it's time for the temperature to go back up so we can cook down some of this delicious sauce. And really, this is it. This is such a cheap, inexpensive way to have a really flavorful dinner, because Indian food out can be quite expensive. You usually get leftovers, and stews are enough to share for sure. But once you get some of these spices, and if this is a whole new to you cuisine, you can also go to your local co-op or Whole Foods store and get just exactly like a teaspoon or two of each spice, so that you can make it the first time and see if you like it or not. And see how that's kind of cooking down? I want to make sure that none of the potatoes just look white and plain. I want to make sure that they've got some good, yummy stuff with them. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, possibly. There we go. Because it's the way I like it. So let's see if I can. I wish I could let you smell some of it. Let's see, where's the bit? Out there. See the cumin seeds in there? And it's really just a tasty dish. And even if you wanted to, at this point, you could even mash them up and make this just kind of a fancy mashed potato dish to go with some other things that you like. So have any of you guys had Aloo Jeera before? And if so, is there a different spice that you add to yours, or a different way you cook yours that we could add into our repertoire as well? The only thing that is in the recipe that I'm absolutely not doing today is putting chopped fresh cilantro on. And that is just because I don't have any. Well, I did have some, but it wasn't looking too good, so I threw it out. So I'm sure you guys can make this, right? If you've never made Indian food before, this is so simple. And the only thing I did was cook the potatoes ahead of time. So I just used my Instant Pot. I put in the potatoes. I covered them to the top with water. I cooked them for 7 minutes on high. And that's kind of my default if I'm going to use them to cook in something else. You can even probably go 5 minutes or a little bit less so they hold up more. I know I like them a little bit mushy in this dish, so that's one of the reasons that I did that. So what I'm serving this with later today is I'm going to serve some steamed basmati rice, some brown rice, and then I am also going to, I've got in the slow cooker a dal cooking. So hopefully the dal turns out right. You guys might get to see that next week, and it may be on the blog. So please let me know. Oh, hi, Hillary. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, the replay should be up really soon. This was kind of a fast one. It seems like we've been doing a lot of longer dishes, so I kind of wanted to just give you something super easy to make tonight. And if you have potatoes and the spices, you can make this tonight. And just steam up some long grain rice. You could use brown basmati is traditional, but if you have, like, a lot of times I'll get the brown jasmine rice. It's delicious too, and it's usually just a wee bit cheaper. So if you have any questions about getting the ingredients, especially if this is your first time cooking Indian, I really would love you to share a picture with me. But even if it's not, and you decide to make this for dinner, I'd love you to share a picture on the Facebook page where you're watching this, or healthyslowcooking.com is where you'll find the recipe. And you can also come and find me and join my private group. I have all the peanut butter. They're delivering. So anyhow, quickly, find me at Cooking with Hester, and I'll put that in there. And sorry, we almost made it today, but the rain came. Have a great day, you guys, and be sure to